Good morning, everybody. I'm going to just do a quick video. Hopefully it works today. Yesterday I tried 4 times to make the video and it did not work. So we're going to try real quick today. I had several things to talk about yesterday, but today we're just going to talk about one. We're going to try to make it quick. We'll see if this works. So when you are buying seeds or plants for a specific purpose, you need to be very clear about what you're buying and check your Latin names and know. And I'm going to give you a couple prime examples today, okay? So this is tarragon. See it from the ground. This is tarragon. Now this is a French tarragon. The reason I know is because when I eat a leaf, it has a very potent flavor. Plus, when I bought it from, it's like a licoricey, it's weird with my coffee. Anyways, excuse me. It's got a really strong flavor. Plus, when I bought it as a plant. Something about tarragon is that the French tarragon, which has the more essential oils in it, you have to get it as a plant because it only propagates through clippings. It has been propagated for so many generations in this way that it no longer propagates by seed or flower. It only propagates through clippings, and the flowers that it gets are like deformed and look kind of funny, and they're not like normal. Now, I bought some tarragon seeds, and I will show you. So right here, I have a tarragon seed that I planted. It almost looks exactly the same. Now, this is a French tarragon, or a Russian tarragon. When you eat one of these leaves, it doesn't have a lot of flavor. This one doesn't have a lot of the essential oils, and it's not going to be as strong or potent, especially in your cooking and your smelling, for like burning and whatnot. And they are the same genus, so they have the same Latin name. However, that French tarragon, like I said, it is propagated through clipping. They take the most fragrant of the bunch and they repropagate it like that. They don't grow it from seed. This Russian tarragon is probably what tarragon tasted like originally, and so magically you can use it the same way, but when it comes to burning it or using the essential oils or eating it, it's not going to have the same flavor. So you got to keep that in mind. Another thing to keep in mind about your Latin names is when it comes to the sage. Now I got a lot of sage, so we're going to talk about some sages. So this first sage that I have is what I would call an ornamental sage. The leaves don't have the same smell or texture or feel that, like, say, sagebrush or the white sage or even the kitchen sage has. And this is going to get those really pretty, the grasshoppers are just killing it, but this is going to get a really pretty purple flower on it. It's going to get the long top flowers. It's one of the ones that they say attracts butterflies. I mean, all sage does, but this one specifically, let's get a leaf. As you can see, it does kind of have that sage color and the sage look to the leaf. That's why I picked this one as the ornamental. But it's just not the same. And the leaves smell like leaves. They don't smell like sage. On these ones, it'll actually be the flowers that I collect, and I'll make a dried flower incense like you do with the lilac or the jasmine or lavender. So then we have our Russian sage, which this again is a much different sage plant than, say, like your kitchen sage or your other medicinal sages that we talk about. This one has a much more musty smell to it, but as you can see, the leaves are different shaped. Oh look, I got some woodbine growing in here. Sneaky woodbine. If you're looking for some penetrating magic, you use that woodbine because it will stick to anything. Anyways, so this has a very strong smell. It is a sativa. It very much smells like that sage, but it's musty. And again, the flowers on this one are great for floral incenses. And this year I'm going to try the leaves for the first time in a smudge stick, we'll see what happens. That other ornamental sage I just showed you, if you put the leaves in a smudge stick, it'll be like putting oak leaves in a smudge stick or whatever, pumpkin leaves in a smudge stick. They don't have the phytochemicals and all of the things that make it that incensey sage smell. It just smells like burning leaf. So then now we have our kitchen sage. This is what you're going to get when you buy the seeds. They're going to sell you this kitchen sage. Pretty much all the time you're going to get kitchen sage. It's very nice. It makes great smudge sticks. It's great in the kitchen. It's delicious. Again, it's kind of musty smelling. I guess I mostly have that Russian sage on me. Anyways, okay, so now we've got some fancier sages. But again, when you're reading your labels, if you're buying a sage, it should say sativia or salvia. It's got to say a salvia, and that means that it's a true sage. There are some Artemisia sage, like the tarragon is an Artemis plant, Artemisia, and there are going to be some of those, like the sage brush is actually the Artemis plants. And they have some of the similar qualities and like medicinally some of the same uses. They can be used, they have that high content of essential oils. But again, just read your labels and know what you're buying. So next I have this tricolor sage, which I'm loving, and it is supposed to live here in Colorado real good and not die in the winter. So I'm hoping that's the case. It's really pretty. It's got several colors of sage on there. Again, I imagine that this was done through genetic breeding, different colored plants. It does have a real Latin name, and it doesn't have the little circle with the seed that says copyright. If you buy a seed that says copyright on it like that, that means that they've done something to make that very specific to them. It's probably not going to make new plants, and it is copyrighted, like they made that. It's not a real plant, okay? So then we have our golden sage. And it's beautiful, and I love it, and it's coming back really well. I didn't think it was going to winter well because it got cold, and it was very little, but it's doing great. Next, we have our Bergamontin, something like that. This one has been one of my favorites. It's come back really, really well. I've got stuff to get rid of the grasshoppers on it. But anyways, it's got really pretty leaves. It's got that sage color. It also has the sage softness. Sage leaves have a softness to them. Okay, so I'm going to go through all of this so that I can make a point about buying sage. White sage, Albea salvia, is a very specific genus of sage. And when you're buying the seeds, make sure that that's what it says. Don't get caught and get Bumble Blue instead of Bumblebee. So don't buy your sages based off their nickname. White sage is often called Bumblebee sage because it very much attracts bumblebees. There is several ornamental sages that have big, beautiful blue flowers that are Bumble Blue. So it's very confusing, and people will pass that along, like, oh, thinking they bought Bumblebee, but it's actually Bumble Blue, and then they sell it to you as white sage. So don't go off the nicknames. Get the Latin name, know what you're buying, do some research, and get it from a reputable seed company. If you're buying white sage, it should be coming from Northern California, Oregon, Washington, and that region of the world, or United States, because that's where that sage grows specifically. So that's where you're going to be able to get those seeds from. If you're buying white sage from somewhere in, let's say, South America, it's probably not white sage. It's probably some other kind of sage. I'm not discrediting the different kind of sages. Just know what you're buying and where you're getting it from. That way you're getting what you're looking for. I recently saw a post where she says, I bought some white sage, but this just doesn't look like it. And she clearly got a blue sage. It looks more ornamental. But a lot of people are saying, they're like, oh, it's white sage. White sage just starts green. No, it really doesn't. It starts with this very, very light white-ish sage color. I don't know. So just know what you're getting. And last but not least, if you're buying seeds so that you can grow your own vegetables year and year again without having to buy seeds, make sure that you're buying heirloom. You don't want hybrids. And this is why you want to buy heirloom. So I got some heirloom cherry tomatoes a couple of years ago, last year, that grew and flowered and did their thing. And now I've got this. Can you tell it's not in the? It's not in the thing. It's growing actually in the cracks. I don't know if the camera showed that. It's growing in the cracks. So tomatoes, just like potatoes, are in the belladonna's family, and I find it very magical. I've got one. So let's step back. Here is the corner of my garden, and you can see right here is a tomato plant. It's like literally growing out of the crack in the corner, which is for many moons have put belladonnas in the corner of their gardens to protect their garden. And this came naturally, like it just popped up, and I didn't weed it. I was like, we'll see what happens. I don't think it'll grow in the crack. It's growing beautifully. It's flowering. It's hopefully about to get some little cherry tomatoes. And they'll be very magical. Oh, before I finish, so earlier on the channel I did a spell where I planted some old rotten vegetables that I had thrown in the garden last year that grew. The tomatoes didn't survive, but they didn't survive because this, let's see, giant, can you see it? Oh yeah, giant squash plant that is now growing very cute little squash and flowers. Oh, they're beautiful. Look at the bee in there. So I'm thinking that from this squash that I get from this, I might save the seeds and do a little thing where if you donate to a charity that works to stop racism and help build equality and community, I will send you some of the seeds, and then you can grow those seeds in your yard. Oh my goodness, wait, I don't know if I'll be able to catch it. There is a yellow swallowtail right there. This is my friend. When I made that video the other day about the yellow swallowtail, there it is. There she goes in the grass. I don't know if you can even see it. She probably won't let me get any closer. Not with the camera, at least. Can you see it? Maybe? Anyways, I hope you get out and enjoy your garden. Oh my god, she's on my garden post. I don't think that I'll be able to get it. She's warming in the sun. She's beautiful. Oh my god, just stay there, butterfly. Don't move. Here I come. Here I come. I don't know if we can get it. It's on there. Oh, she flew away. See, I tried. Anyways, I hope everybody's having a great day, and get out in your garden and do some growing, and know what you're buying. Know the scientific name, know what you're getting it for, know what you can use it for, and be able to identify it as it starts to grow, so that way you know you got the right thing. And if you got it from somebody, like say you bought some white sage and you got it and it's not white sage, let everybody know so they don't get it from them. Let that person know. Maybe they didn't even know. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you all again soon.